too. I'm starting the recording now. I think you all must have got a notification about that. More people are joining in. Welcome, everyone. So, today's Cinelogy episode slash webinar slash whatever you want to call it, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is with Vivian Pullan, all the way from Pune. Vivian Pullan. He's one of my best friends who was in New York Film Academy with me, and we did 1 year of cinematography during the year of 2018. And he's outstanding. He's a brilliant gaffer, worked on various projects. We'll discuss more about this. And today's topic is going to be cinematography and your vision. I think everybody is listening to me क्योंकि मैं किसी की वीडियो नहीं देख पा रहा हूँ. I'll be speaking mostly in English, but we can be casual as well. If somebody else joins in, because I've also shared links with some people from US, all across US, some people from Canada, other people also. So, we should keep the conversation in English. All right, then, let's start. First of all, I would like to welcome Vivian over here. Vivian is here, if you can see it on the screen.
Hello.
Vivian Pullan, all the way from Pune.
Hi.
He's based
Can you hear me?
in... Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay.
Today's topic is going to be, as we all know, cinematography and your view. But before that, I would love to share some things with you. Let me show that right now. So the overview of today's meeting is going to be, I'll introduce I'll say some lines about Vivian Pullan. He's outstanding, by the way, but still, thoda masala lagana padega. So Vivian Pullan, we'll be discussing about his experience so far in the industry. Next, we'll discover the art within. That's one of the subtopics for today. So how to discover the art within, how to realize that I connect with certain kind of art, या फिर ऐसे वैसे जैसे भी. So that we'll be discussing. Third will be your film school experience. Most of the guests I will have on this podcast, webcast, whatever you want to call it, have been to a film school, maybe for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, whatever, or maybe for a couple of years. So their film school experience, is it helpful? Is it not helpful? We'll be also discussing about that today. And last but not the least, we'll be discussing some questions that the participants can ask Vivian. Now, the rules for this meeting slash webcast podcast will be that you all need to mute your microphones and keep it muted, please. Otherwise, it can cause disturbance. I know some of you are hearing us over a speaker on your phone, so it can cause some disturbance. You can keep your video on if you want to. It gives us confidence that you are listening to us, and I would recommend everyone else to actually turn their video on so that we can see कि हाँ सबको समझ तो आ रहा है at least. Next will be, if you want to join in, if you want to speak something, you can unmute and join in with us. And last, once we get to the questions part, the host will decide who to unmute, and I think I'll give him the controls and he can unmute based on however he wishes to. All right, then I'll stop this screen. I'll stop this bloody screen in front of me. Now, Vivian Pullan, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me over here. I just want to apologize in advance in case I have some problems with the network because I have like really bad network over here. I'm like struggling to find the right spot. So, I mean, everyone's like really pixelated. So I hope.
Okay, we can see you perfectly fine. All right, then. So I would love to introduce Vivian. Vivian is born and brought up in Pune, I guess. Yeah, that's what I have researched about him. And he went to various different colleges, various different schools. But let's jump to cinematography, where the actual story starts. He was a business developer in Opera Systems. A nice job, but he decided to actually quit that, pursue for his passion. He went to New York Film Academy in the year of 2016 to study photography, but I think he liked it too much, and he also went for a 1 year course in cinematography. He was one of my classmates. So he actually worked for various different cinematographers and directors all across United States, and also I think he went to Mexico for one shoot. So that's something crazy. But I think he not shot Narcos, a season of Narcos. I'm just joking,
No.
but I would love to also share his credible work that he has done so far. So I think I'll share some posters with you because I've worked on it. I've done my homework, and I've made
Hmm.
this nice presentation for everyone. So the work, Home Sweet Home, and Guilt and Game Brunch were some of the works he has done gaffing in. The people who don't know the word what gaffing means, we'll be discussing about that shortly. So getting back to Vivian. Vivian,
Hmm. Yeah.
your opening comments, remarks, anything else you would like to say?
Um. Yeah. So like I'm thankful and like I'm glad to be here and uh just like share the experience. Like I'm not like really experienced. I'm no one big or anything, but like I'm glad you started this so that like all of us who are just getting into this industry can like talk and have a discussion and share the
Yeah,
experiences so we can help
yeah,
each other and like because like the industry in the US is different, the industry over here is different, and like like I think this is like a good platform where everyone can discuss and like connect. Obviously, we have to stay home because of the whole virus situation, so I think this is the best way like we can connect with people from all over the world, and then in turn, I think that will help us like network in the industry. Like if someone's starting off, if someone is
absolutely.
already in there.
Absolutely. I see many familiar names joining in, and I see some videos too. Gunj over here is also a drone cinematographer. We'll be having a session with him very soon. He is based in Delhi, worked all across the world actually. He was trying to get into United States, but that got denied. We'll come back to that. Bro, हम लेके चलेंगे तेरे को US, तो tension मत ले. We have Sri Vatsan Salvarajan with us. He was one of my batchmates. He was one of my classmates. Also from Trichy. He's from Trichy, Chennai. And we'll be having one session with him about cinematography in detail and also critiquing and analysis and much more. I mean, it will be, we are doing this for the next 14 days. So this session today is just an introduction to the next 14 days. My concept is to actually start with keep the whole 14 days in three sections. I've divided it into three sections. We'll be talking about pre-production, most part of pre-production in a film or in a photography shoot for the first week. The second week we'll be jumping into on set, what happens on set on a film or a film set, sorry, or on a photography set, what happens on set. We'll be discussing about that. And during the end days, I'm actually trying to bring a mentor of mine to the webcast, and I hope for the best. And also discuss about post production, what happens after the movie is actually made, the editing process, and so on. So I've divided the 14 days into a nice structure, and we'll be following that. So today is the basics. We have all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
people in the group. Actually, there are, Vivian, I would love to say, there are professionals also, and there are some beginners also who just want to learn, and there are some
Okay.
who have no I'll say professional background in photography or cinematography, but they you know they want, it's a hobby for them. They love to click pictures, they love to make videos. So I think they'll be
Mm-hmm.
learning more than anyone else over here. Now, Vivian, I would love to ask you about your experience. How did you realize that cinematography or photography or having a camera in your hand is your passion? And how did that leap happen? Where was the interest, the spark of the interest?
Um, I mean, obviously, I like it's not like there's not like one specific moment in my life that it's like, oh, this thing happened, and like, oh, I'm gonna get into photography. It was like a gradual thing. Since growing up, a lot of things played an important role to get here. But I think it kind of started off with like I think we had like a family film camera. I think most of us had those, and like I just like just fooling around with it. because my dad, he went out for work, and then I just had the camera, and he was like, "Oh, there's some roles left in there, and you could just like start off with that." And like it started from there, and then obviously like once technology started like evolving, and then like cameras got onto the phones, obviously it was more accessible, and then just kept on trying things. And I never thought I would get into this field because I did my bachelor's and master's in like computer, and then I did like commerce and everything. I started working as a business developer in a software company, and this whole thing was just like a hobby, and I never thought like I would like get in here because I don't know. But in 2015, like I got an opportunity to go to New York like for a couple of months, and I thought like, oh, I'll just do like a small 4 week photography course, and I did that. I liked it, and I liked New York also, but obviously I couldn't stay there, so I came back, and then I was like going to switch my job from one place to another, and then that's when I was like a little confused because I started like I thought like this whole concept of, because after I came back from New York, I started like doing like small professional, like I used to like click product shoot or like product photos for some companies and stuff. And at first I like started liking that whole thing, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could like try doing something in this field, but I was still not like 100% sure that like, oh, this is it. But like when I was about to switch to the new company, like I gave my interview and everything, and I cracked the interview, and I was about to join like in 3 weeks. And I was just having a word with my dad on the phone, and I was talking to him like, oh, like I'm confused, like what should I do? And then he was the one who kind of like pushed me. Like he's like, I think this is the right time for you to, like if you want to just switch your careers, this is the right time, and like just do it. And it's better not to regret later that, oh, I had the opportunity to do it back then. And so I think that's where I decided that I'm probably just going to quit my job and give it a try. And here I am.
Um, so after that, I mean, you did a 1 year course with me in New York Film Academy in cinematography. So that is the second question we'll come to. That is for today. That's the second question. That how did you realize that you were very attracted to art in general, right? Photography is also art. Cinematography is also art. So you were attracted to art in general. What made you choose that? I wanna jump between, or their selection of a preference in terms of photography or cinematography. What made you do that?
I think like a lot of us Indians, like we just love watching movies, and I was one of them. And like me, my brother, and my dad, my mom's not into movies as much, but like the three of us, we just watched a lot of movies. And um, I think I always had an interest in like filmmaking, like because we didn't have YouTube or internet back then. So like the whole concept of, oh, what goes on, like how, because I still remember as a kid, like I used to see like two characters, and I used to wonder, and I used to ask my dad, oh, how is this guy in like two like different places at the same time? Like I was like so naive at that time, and I was always like intrigued with the whole concept of filmmaking. And I think like all of us, like everyone who watches a movie, like somewhere in the back of their mind, they're like always wondering, oh, how did they pull this off? So I think yeah, like that whole like curiosity about filmmaking kind of, I think that's why I chose to get into filmmaking, because I'd already tried photography, but like I'd never like done like filmmaking or cinematography that back then. So that's why I think like I thought like this course would be more helpful, and I think it was the right decision I made, I guess. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So how do you associate yourself? Like, how? I mean, at the very end, you said like watching movies actually got you into loving cinematography much more. So you go to see a nice movie on a big screen, you love the visuals. So that is what cinematography is. That, I mean, um, and we'll expand more on that tonight, about like what a cinematographer does, what's the difference between a director and a cinematographer, and I would like you to explain more about that.
So the difference between the director and cinematographer,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
just the
many people
cinematographer? Okay.
many people get confused with, if the movie actually looks good, they credit it to the director. Many people in India, especially, don't know about what a cinematographer does and what his crew
Hmm.
does, right? So let's actually touch base upon what actually cinematography is, how the art is actually related to creating such beautiful films.
Um, I mean, it's like a very vast thing. Like, I mean, it's not easy to explain in like just one sentence, but like to make it as brief as possible, I would say that whatever you see on the screen, like, I would say basically right from how the film looks, something to the choice like camera choice, the lens choice, like I think even like pulling focus and like basically I feel like everything that you see on screen uh, kind of plays like the cinematographer plays an important role in choosing a lot of those things. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
like the director, the production designer, a lot of other people are involved, but I think like yeah, I would say like the cinematographer is one of the key like the key person to like contribute to those decisions. But like
Mhm.
definitely he's the one who like chooses like the camera, the lenses, what format, what aspect ratio, and what frame rate, and like yeah, a lot of things like the color, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so major part of the decision making that we see on the screen is actually done by the cinematographer, and a lot of people don't know that, right? Um, let's jump from that and let's go to the third topic, because we are what? We are running out of time. It's giving me some warnings. I don't know why. It's too quick to give me these warnings. Okay. How was your film school experience, and should a person actually join film school? How important is a film school to be a cinematographer?
Um, I wouldn't say it's like it's a must, but I had a good experience. Like I'm because I met all of y'all, like you, Shri, and like a lot of other people, and I think it kind of helps for connections and to learn few things. But it's like any other school, like you could do it. Like nowadays, you can learn anything on the internet, but that doesn't mean that you could do it. Like you could do it, but like it depends. Like I mean, like I said, it's not necessary to get into a film school, but like obviously everything has its own pros and cons. Like there are some things that matter, some not, and like it just depends on. I mean, there are a lot of situations, a lot of things that kind of maybe like helps you decide if you want to get into filmmaking or not. Like, and one I think like the most important I feel, at least for me, was like the financial part because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I think be it the US or India or anywhere, like a lot of films are just like very
I
expensive,
see
and like this
Shri
whole
raising his hand
industry.
up. I see Shri raising his hand up like this.
Okay, yeah. So for
Rohan Khanna is
me,
also
like,
joining us.
oh, okay. So I think for me, like, if if like finance is not like an issue, I think then you should just get into it and just give it a try. But like, because for people like for whom like you have to think about finances to get into film, because it's not only about paying the fees, because like everything else, like for us, like the projects you shoot, like there's so many other expenses that just add up. So it's a big risk. Like it's not easy.
And the equipment too,
Yeah,
I mean, not in terms of cinematography, because most of the equipment you rent it out, but in terms of photography, if you get into a similar photography course, and then you have to invest in your own camera, your own lenses, your own kit, that adds up to much of the cost.
yeah.
Okay. I think those will be the base questions of today. We'll be getting Vivian back again in the next week for his brief, I'm sorry, for his detailed class about gaffing. And we'll be also making some floor plans as we go forward. As I've already told you that We'll be dividing these 14 days into three sections. The first week will be just about pre-production. There will be few days of the next week where we actually talk about the production part. What are the roles of each person in a crew? And then by the end of the week, we'll be talking about the post-production. What's the role of a producer? What's the role of the marketing team? What's the role of editor? That we'll be discussing. Um, for today, anyone that has any questions, I would love them to actually unmute their mic and ask Vivian anything if they want to.
Or do you think it's better if they just chat, like type it in? Because I think then multiple
Sure, they
people.
can type it in if they want to. They can type it in. If somebody wants to unmute their mic, they can do it. It's free for all. Something for Vivian.
So
And
I
if
want to
not,
ask, it's me.
yeah, I have Gunj.
Yeah. So how much did the 1 year cinematography course cost you in the New York Film Academy?
Oh,
That
I
is that
think
is the question. ये सबके मन में है इस time. All of the participants who are listening, they have this question. Because finance is one of the
uh,
biggest things that is a concern.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
I think it costed me one of my kidneys and my liver, I guess. Yeah, that's how I would.
That's a
Yeah,
good way to say it.
yeah. Like you definitely, yeah. I mean, I don't have like an exact amount of.
No, we don't really want the exact one. We just want the academic course fee.
Uh,
The expenses
I
that
mean,
you
it
incur.
depends. I mean, obviously, it depends on which school you're going to. But from where we did our course, I would say it was roughly, including all the costs, I would say it's upwards of 35 lakhs easily.
Mm-hmm. And do you think they see? I feel like investing that amount of money, and I just feel
Hmm.
like the school is somewhat like gives you a practical experience in the industry, how you do it as a teamwork, and then a playground for networking is what I call it. Because otherwise,
That
the rest of the
Hmm.
things you can learn it online. It's up to a person if they really want to learn something, they can just go out and then specifically learn what they're really looking for. Otherwise, school teaches you a damn curriculum that they have made for everyone, and
Yeah.
it's not what everyone wants to learn, really. So
Yeah. I
I
I
want
mean,
to
mean,
ask you,
Gunj. Yeah, Vivian, go
I
what
ahead, go ahead.
totally, I totally agree. I mean, the school is basically just like it's just the building blocks. It just tells you what and how to do and how to place things. But what I've personally experienced is that, like, it's like you watch if you play. I don't know if any, like how many of you all play sports, but like how much ever you watch sports until you don't get onto the field, you're not going to like know how to play it. So it's the same with filmmaking. Like you learn everything in school. Like every school has a different method and way to teach. But like when you go on set, it's every set is a different set. Like I mean, the basics are the same, but like I think like yeah, you learn the most on field. But like school is like the perfect way to like like it's like a building block. It'll just teach you the basics and everything. Yeah. Also, but like it depends. Like if you learn in the US and you come back to India, like all of that, like all the terms, all like whatever they use, like what the name of the lights and everything is just so different. So it's like basically you have to come here and then learn, like relearn all the new terms and names and like a lot of other things. Yeah.
Good question by Gunj. And anyone else who has a question? We are running out of time.
Viv, do you want to just give us some idea of how your OPT period went? I think the participants would love to hear about that.
Oh yeah, sure. I think my OPT period, like it started off really bad. Like the first month, I didn't get a single job, and I was like so stressed out. I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to get any jobs or what's going to happen, and like, but like the first project I got, and then it just like the ball just started rolling, and I did a lot of different like kinds of projects, like ranging from like feature films to short films to commercials to music videos. Uh, yeah, I think like overall it was a good experience, and like I just stuck to one. Like either I used to not one basically like two. Like I used to like either work as a cinematographer or like on projects which I didn't work as a fuck, cinematographer. I used to like I tried to stick to being a gaffer. So these were the two main roles I just tried to stick to, and like I was just like specializing in these two to like get. But like yeah, overall it was a good experience. Definitely learned a lot during the OPT than in school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have just 2 minutes remaining right now, and it's giving me a warning of less than a minute. We'll wrap up this session for today. We'll be joining again at the same time tomorrow with one of our another other classmates. She was with us. I'll show you the poster for tomorrow, and you'll get the date and time. We'll be having a session with Jana Baraho about the art of storytelling tomorrow. Same time. I I wish everybody joins in at the perfect time. I see Rohan Khanna laughing at the bottom right there. So I think that is all for today. The links for this, whosoever DM'd me today, I'll be also posting the link for tomorrow's session. And we are still in the pre-production phase. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Vivian, for joining.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Vivian. We'll be joining everyone tomorrow. Do DM me again if you want to get the link, or I'll just send you. Anyways. Bye.
Thank you. Good night,
Have a
everyone.
good
See
night.
you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye bye.